Dave versus Paul Kingsnorth.
Survival. That's a 12. Social. 11. Wisdom. 9.
Heart. 7. End of days in the kingdom of whatever by Paul Kingsnorth. Probably a doctor or something.
One of the reasons that January in the northern hemisphere is the most depressing month is that Christmas has only recently departed, and it's nearly a year until the next one. Despite my not undeserved reputation for Eeyore-ish gloom, Christmas remains probably my favorite day of the year, and even the avalanche of consumer crap that now surrounds it doesn't take away the pleasure. Decorated trees, lights on the porch, presents, good food, excited children, people you love. Perfectly judged levels of mild drunkenness and gluttony works for me. At heart, I am quite easily pleased. Growing up in a merrily post-Christian England, the one thing I never did on Christmas Day was go near a church or do anything religious at all except maybe listening to some carols. England has for a long time been a land of moderation, something which frustrates political extremists of all stripes, but which until quite recently was a success story worth boasting about. Since the religious wars of the 17th century, and very much because of them, the English have mostly rejected both religious and political extremism. We are the only major European country, for example, assuming we are European, a question which has never quite been settled, for whom neither communism nor fascism ever held any serious attraction. The reasons for this are, as ever, to be found in the past. After our wrenching civil war in the 1640s, in which we executed our monarch and attempted to create God's kingdom on earth. Spoiler alert, this failed. What we might call the English Compromise was born. A way of seeing, governing, and being governed, which lasted until the late 20th century. The monarchy was restored, and as long as the king promised to behave himself in the form of democracy, that was actually a kind of unspoken oligarchy, took over the running of things. Dribs and drabs of power were handed out to lower orders when absolutely necessary, and potential disorder was averted on occasions either by platoons of soldiers or by the construction of a council houses and the issuing of pensions. Pensions! Most importantly of all, perhaps, we exiled all of our troublemaking religious extremists to America, where they began busily building the empire that would eventually replace us. As the Catholic writer J.K. Chesterton once dryly put it, the Americans have established a Thanksgiving Day to celebrate the fact that the Pilgrim Fathers reached America. The English might very well establish another Thanksgiving Day to celebrate the happy fact the Pilgrim's Fathers left England. The point being that the English, ever since the Reformation and its traumatic aftermath, haven't really done religion. For a while we found that running on the fumes of actual religious belief whilst not thinking too much about it seemed to work, at least while we were on top of the world. But the meat of the thing was another matter. The easy, non-religious Christmases I grew up with were all part of the pleasant atmosphere of a gently declining post-war England which had no god or gods and didn't think it really needed them. England in my lifetime has been neither a religious nor a particularly anti-religious place. Serious faith was just, well, slightly embarrassing. The kind of thing that foreigners and ancestors did that we somehow wandered beyond. So the Christmas morning just past was both strange and revolutionary for me, because it was the first one I spent in a church. Since being baptized a year ago, I have spent many hours of my life standing. We are mostly always standing through Orthodox divine liturgies, wreathed in incense, trying to follow some literally Byzantine ceremony, and feeling each time like something makes a little more sense on some level that I can't quite pin down. Still, there was part of me that resisted spending my Christmas morning in a church when I should have been opening presents, or eating or drinking or something easier, lazier, and more profane. I'm glad I didn't resist, because the after effects of the service were to reveal things to me that I have been pondering ever since. When I walked out of the church on Christmas morning, I felt that I had seen something, or rather felt something, at once obvious and at the same time new and exciting. I felt like something had been activated within me, and the world suddenly seemed to be a subtly different shape. What I felt, dim and fuzzy, and yet unmistakable, could be summed up in 3 simple and catastrophic words. Everything is religious.